Hello everyone and welcome to another very nice game from round 5 of this year's European Club Cup. It is Magnus Carlsen versus his first opponent that is rated over 2700. It is Vincent Keymer representing Chess Club Novi Bor, Magnus of course representing Ofaspil, and it's a game, really a weird one, where we have like 9 moves of known theory, and then already on move 11 the position just completely opens up and the position comes alive. You'll see what I mean by this, so let's dive straight into it. Magnus with the white pieces opens with e4, and the Vincent goes for the Sicilian defense. Pawn to c5, knight of 3, we have d6, and now the open Sicilian with the d4. Now that is a true treat. C captures, knight to f6, and now knight to c3, and now pawn to a6. The Najdorf Sicilian is on the board, and this is just, I mean, this is the best you can get. A player of Vincent's strength playing the Najdorf Sicilian against Magnus Carlsen, you know that this can only end well for one of the players. So let's check it out. I mean, it can end well for either Vincent or Magnus, because a Najdorf Sicilian will not be a docile opening. So bishop to c4. It's a fairly standard way of treating the Najdorf, because I always say in the Najdorf, any move you play here with white is a very well-known opening. Now, you can't really make a weird move with white here. Any move you play is very well-known, and bishop to c4 is like the fourth most popular. Like I think you go like bishop to g5, then you have bishop to e2, then bishop to e3, and bishop to c4 being the fourth most popular option, but still very, very strong. Bishop to c4, we have e6, makes sense as the bishop is now on this long diagonal. And now pawn to a4, stopping pawn to b5. From Vincent, we have bishop to e7 and both players castles. So castles, and now bishop to e3. And there are a couple of games where the position has been reached. Knight to c6 is a known move, b6 is a known move, but the move Vincent played is a new one. So it is now as of move 9 that we have a completely new game. And now look at this, queen to e2. Of course, you have to defend your bishop on c4. Bishop to d7, again, a very well-known move in the Najdorf Sicilian. You want to play knight to c6. You want to trade off your knight for this knight, and you want to put your light square bishop on this long diagonal. So that's the idea. Put additional pressure on d4 and take it from there. Next, you're going to play b6, maybe get the knight into the game and get the rook to c8. So those are some of your moves that you are hoping to play. But now Magnus plays pawn to a5, and you already have to be careful. Now you, with the b6 square being covered by the pawn and the knight not having access to d7, you have to worry about bishop to b6 in some lines. And the standard way of treating this would be knight to c6 or rook to d8 or something in that fashion. But Vincent played knight to g4, which is again a very well-known concept in the Najdorf Sicilian. You want to maneuver the knight with tempo, you attack the bishop, then the bishop either moves or, you know, okay, sometimes you even capture it. But all in all, you want to get your knight to e5. That's the point. But here in this particular, order of moves, it does not work. And I'm not going to tell you why. You guys will tell me why. Feel free to pause the video and try to find, dare I say it, a winning move for Magnus while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations. You must be a true student of how to play against the Najdorf, as this is not easy to spot. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight to f5. Now, what's the idea behind knight to f5? Well, black just can't do anything weird. Like if you play a knight captures on e3, then knight captures on e7 already comes with check. So first you have to tend to that, and after the king moves, you're going to play f captures on e3. And now, once, you have to attack the knight, otherwise you're just down a piece, so you have to play queen to d8, and then the knight goes back, knight to f5, and now the question is, can you capture the knight here? Yes, you can, but it's not going to be great. For example, pawn captures on e5, and now you're going to play pawn captures on e5. With f6 coming, not the best position. If you play something like f6, okay, you've played it, but now these pawns are weak, and you're weak on this diagonal, and positionally this is lost, and a strong player will be able to take advantage of this very easily. So you can't really ignore your bishop here being attacked. If you play e captures on f5, of course you can do that. You just accept the challenge. Then comes knight to d5. Again, attacks the queen and the undefended bishop on e7. And once you defend it, then comes bishop to b6, attacking your queen. And once you move it, then comes knight to c7, attacking the queen and the rook. And once the queen moves, this is the only square, you capture the rook. You're now up the exchange. Of course, you will have a winning game. For example, captures, and now even bishop to d3 is coming, so you're probably going to move the knight, knight e5. Still, you can play this as the bishop on e7 is hanging, and we can do some trades here. Let's say captures, queen captures on c2, you're going to play queen captures on d6, and all in all, okay, 5 pawns each, but you are up the exchange, and the knight has a very clear way of re-entering the game. Knight c7, knight d5, and of course, white wins. So instead, Vincent plays bishop to f6, which is the most resilient way of facing knight to f5, and it is the top move recommended by the engine. And now Magnus plays bishop to b6. We have queen to c6, and now Magnus played knight to d4. But I'm just going to show you a move that completely shatters black's position. Knight to d4 is also very nice, and it is objectively winning. But there is a move that, well, yeah, either a super engine or Tal would play, and that is, of course, bishop to d5. As now, the black queen has no squares other than the c8 square, but if you go queen to c8, then of course you trap the queen with knight captures on d6, as the d6 pawn is undefended, so you really can't play that. After bishop d5, you would have to take the bishop, and after e captures, now you would play e captures, attack the queen, and once the queen moves, let's say you go queen to c8, again knight captures on d6. And you don't lose the queen, but you have to play bishop to b5 in order to clear the d7 square for the queen. Then you would capture here, the queen still hanging. Now queen comes to d7, you're going to play knight to c7, and okay, you capture here, queen captures on g4. Next move, you also capture the rook. This is completely crushing. So only way for black to play this, at least somehow after this e captures on d5, is to play queen captures on c3 and give up the queen for some counterplay. For example, pawn captures and bishop captures on f5. And okay, you can maybe try and hold this with black, but it's objectively it is a lost game. But Magnus goes for a different move. He goes for knight to d4, again harassing the queen. Queen to c8, and now he plays bishop to b3, so a bit slower than the line that we've shown. Knight to e5, and now rook a to d1. We have bishop to d8 now. Challenging this very strong bishop here, and pawn to f4, challenging the knight on e5. We have knight e to c6, and now we have pawn to f5. Now preparing pawn to f6, but also just start capturing here, as the bishop also attacks the e6 square. Bishop captures on b6, a captures, and now knight captures on d4. We have rook captures on d4, and now Vincent creates a pin here with queen to c5, but just queen to f2 by Magnus. E captures on f5, e captures on f5, again preparing pawn to f6, and now how do you play this? It seems like you could play this because if queen captures on f5, then queen captures on d4 comes with check. Problem is here you have knight to a4, attacks the queen, kicks the queen away from this diagonal, and then you just pick up the free bishop here. So instead, bishop to c6 was played, and now pawn to f6, completely opening up the king. If you play g6, then queen d2, and this will not end well for black. So knight to d7, now Vincent tries to get the knight into the game, but just f captures. King captures, and now even bishop to d5, cutting off the black queen from helping out with the defense of the king. And while you could capture, the knight captures, again, it's really not great. If pawn to f6, trying to create some sort of a defense here, b4. Of course, what else did you expect? The queen is attacked, queen c6, knight c7, and everything hangs. This hangs. This, again, is a threat of a fork here, attacking the rook and the king. You cannot play this, as knight also covers the e8 square, so not happening. So after bishop to d5, f5 was attempted by Vincent, but now a very clean solution to the position. Bishop captures, queen captures on c6, and now rook f to d1, honing in on black's true weakness, which is the d6 pawn, as it often is in Najdorf Sicilian. So that's why we often say you should advance that pawn to d5. If you can do it with black, then everything should be okay. Queen captures on b6, but now knight to d5, chasing away the queen from this diagonal. We have queen to d8. If queen captures on b2, yes, you can play this, but then again, knight c7 attacks the rook, threatening knight to e6 check. This is resigns. So after knight d5, queen to d8 was played, and now Magnus just played knight to f4, and he was in this position on move 29 that Vincent Keymer resigned the game, as there really is nothing more to be done here. Magnus is threatening a monster royal fork here, attacking the queen, the rook, and the king, and there's no good way to deal with this. If queen f6, then you fork the king and the queen here. If you play queen to e7, it's possible, but then look at this. Rook captures on d6, threatens the knight here. If you move the knight, then rook e6, you threaten the queen, and if queen f7, then you go in for the kill. Rook captures on f6, king capture. If you capture with the queen, again, this forks, fork wins the queen. So king captures, and now of course it's just a king hunt. Queen to d4 with check, king to g5, rook to d3, now going in for the kill, king to h6, and now rook to h3 with check, king to g5, rook to h5 with check. You're going to play king to g4, h3 check, king g2, and knight to e2 will be checkmate. So this is only one of the possible lines, but of course Vincent sees that the storm is looming over him, and he says, no more, I've had it, 29 moves is enough for any man. So there you have it, 4 out of 4 for Magnus, and I mean, really incredible against a top player like Vincent. Vincent is currently like world number 26 in classical chess. I mean, it's known theory up until this point. Queen to c7 was a known move in top tier games, and then already 2 moves after that, Vincent completely loses with knight to g4, knight to f5, completely crushing. Magnus finds it, and I mean, what a move. I don't know if Magnus considered the bishop to d5 here instead of knight to d4. This really wild. Like I said, it's either a super engine move or a tall move. But maybe he just didn't like the line where Vincent gives up the queen and then Magnus has to go for it, and maybe he thought, okay, this is positionally, this is safest, and I'm still gonna win it. So who knows? Maybe he mentioned it in an interview. I didn't watch it. If you guys have seen it, do share in the comment section below. And also, if you guys are interested in the current world standings, we haven't shown those in a while. Here they are. So yeah, you have, of course, Magnus #1 for like forever with 28.47. He's currently on plus 8.7, so almost closing in on that 28.50. Bobby Ding, Nakamura, Alireza Firuj, Jayani Pomnish, Nishgiri, Wesley So, Gukesh, and Richard Rapport are in the world top 10. Anand lost some points now because I know yesterday he overtook Gukesh and re-entered the top 10, but I guess today he lost and then lost some points. Karyakin, Dominguez Perez, Rajabov Temur, Pragnananda, Aronyan, Mamedyarov, Grishuk, Kwang Liemle, MVL, Veselin Topalov still almost in the top 20, 21, then Wei Yi, Yang Shistov Duda, and so on and so on. So yeah, very nicely done. Very impressive game by Magnus, but it was, like I said, incredibly brave going for the Najdorf, which is the sharpest possible Sicilian you could play. Against the highest rated player in the world. You know, props to Vincent, but you know, well, you've seen what happened. So yeah, that's the game. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Very nicely done by Magnus, going hard with 100% here. Nicely done. I would like to thank Alireza. Dremio is the best data lake engine. Kate Ingram, Dennis Charbonneau, and Mr. Hoodie Guy for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And sorry for my voice. I have something, I don't know what, but it's affecting my voice. So see you soon.